and welcome to Lunchbox. This is your 15-minute daily dose of what's going on in and around Bournemouth University. My name is Gemma, and in today's show we will take an in-depth look at the current form of AFC Bournemouth. With me today are Jasper Taylor and Tom Bennett, who both work for the club and are here to give us their views on the current goings-on. So guys, if you could first of all tell us exactly what it is you do at AFC Bournemouth.
Our official title is video reporters. So we go to all of the home games, sometimes go to away games as well. Last week I was up in Crewe for the game, so that was a nice 8-hour trip. So we cover the games, we do the live blogs, the Twitter, and we also do pitchside videos which get uploaded to the website a couple of days after for the fans.
Cool, and can you tell us a little bit more about life at AFC Bournemouth before Hal's return with last season's mid-table finish?
Well, it started this season with a lot of optimism. We brought in loads of new players over the summer, and I think a lot of fans thought that this season was really going to be the one. I mean, last season there was hopes of reaching the playoffs, but sort of that dream dwindled as the season continued. But yeah, this season was seen as sort of a fresh start. People thought that Paul Rose was the man to take us forward, but I mean, unfortunately it didn't really work out that way, did it?
No, I mean, they got a lot of good players in. You know, they didn't change any of the squad when Hal came back. The good thing that Eddie did was he left us in a good position at the top of the table, and we thought that we could carry on that sort of form. We just made the playoffs, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were thinking that we were this sort of championship outfit, and then unfortunately it all went. I mean, perhaps they lacked experience a bit. Following Eddie's act must have been quite hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Groves came up from the youth side, so he obviously had big ties at the club, which obviously the chairman Eddie Mitchell thought would aid them, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. But I mean, now they've returned back to Howe. I think they found quite a special character there and someone that has quite a special bond with the club.
So you would say having him back has made a big impact for the team?
Definitely, absolutely. I mean, immeasurably, isn't it? Except for the fact that you have to look, you know, we were near relegation zone when he came back in. We're all thinking, you know, the best result is that we don't get relegated this season. Then it's just been phenomenal to see the power that one man, and him and Jason Tindall as well, what they can do just to transform the same set of players, you know, completely the same squad, just a different manager, and completely transform the whole team, the way that they actually play. And it's just been phenomenal to see, you know, right up to the top of the table last week. So, you know, his project since he's come back has been completely successful, isn't it?
I mean, it's always been a fairy tale. I mean, before a few weeks ago it was something like 18 games unbeaten, and just no one would have really wrote the script from where we were at the start of the season, pondering around relegation, to go to promotion favourites now with much of the bookies. I think it's been an awesome transformation, and one that I don't think anyone could have predicted.
Yeah, sort of see the highs and lows of the club, haven't we? We've only been there for just over a year now, but we've seen them right from the bottom to the top now. So it's been a real transformation for us, I think, as well, to see, because all the fans, they're not starting to come in, and now we're starting to sell out the stadium. You know, there's a whole air of optimism around the club, and I think that we're heading to better things still.
I mean, even the town's getting excited. The amount of people turning up for matches now, there's a huge buzz circulating around even the university, the town, that everyone wants championship football next year, and yeah, hopefully Eddie's the man to take you there.
And when he came back, was that transformation instant, or have we seen that taken a little while to come into play?
I think it was pretty much instant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Dennis Rofe took charge of the first game when Eddie was announced, which was a 2-0 win over Leyton Orient, which at the time was a good result as well. And ever since then, we haven't looked back. I mean, it was as if he put a spell on the club, and we just started playing nice, confident football. Almost instantaneously, I'd say. It was just a huge lift to everyone, wasn't it? And because the players know him so well, I think that gave them a huge lift. They wanted to play under him, and ever since, he's just been brilliant.
I mean, I think the main factor was the game in the FA Cup against Wigan. I mean, when you come out disappointed that you've lost to a Premier League side, I think that's a real sign that you're really going places. I mean, when we got the draw at the DW Stadium in early January, I think everyone came off the pitch thinking, yeah, we've got a good result, but we could have won that, in all honesty. And when Wigan came down for the replay down at the Goldsound Stadium, everyone went off the pitch thinking that, yeah, we probably should have got something out of that. And I mean, when you're matching a Premier League side in that capacity, it's a real sign that things are going in the right direction.
Yeah. Of course, just last week, Bournemouth sat at the top of the table. They've slipped down into second now. Is that an indication of the intent from AFC Bournemouth?
I think definitely. I mean, this is now looking like a championship side. In terms of players, they're definitely good enough to be up there. Yeah, we hit top spot. We're probably the best squad in the league, I suggest, at the moment.
Big squad.
Yeah, we've got this strength and depth, I think, which is important. But a couple of teams, games in hand, that they could overtake us. Swindon have now, obviously. But it's so tight. I think between first and sixth, it's 4 points that separate them. So it's such a brilliant league to be involved in. But anything can happen, and I think we've still got a long way to go if we want to show that we are a championship quality side.
I think the way that the squad is formed, I mean, Swindon Town, yeah, they're right up there, and their former manager, Paolo Di Canio, said he'd quite happily sign 8 of our players, and I think that's a sign that every team in the league is looking at Bournemouth as thinking they're sort of like the big boys, they're the ones to beat, and hopefully no one does beat us.
Yeah.
So you can definitely push on for promotion then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if there's going to be a time where Bournemouth reach the second tier of English football, I think it's going to be this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've always said that's the aim since the start of the season, even when they were doing badly. But I think now it's a real aim, and I think probably we'll get automatic promotion in the first 2 spots. Probably avoid the playoffs this time round if we carry on playing like we are.
I think everyone involved with the club, the fans, the management, all the rest of the staff, I think everyone will be bitterly disappointed if we don't go up this year. I mean, as I said, the foundations are in place. The run of form at the moment is remarkable, and yeah, if it doesn't happen, it'll be a miracle not to happen now.
Yeah, and if they do get into the playoffs, will they succeed this time round, or do you think they'll fail to get through like they did in 2011?
I mean, with Eddie in charge, as we said, anything could happen. I mean, last time when they failed, Eddie left in January and Lee Bradbury took them into the playoffs, and his time at the club was relatively short-lived. So yeah, hopefully if Eddie stays, which I probably believe he will, can't see why not, then yeah, hopefully his magic is going to rub off again, and hopefully we can do something.
I think though hopefully we'll avoid the playoffs completely, and we'll go up either as champions or second place. I mean, it's always a lottery in the playoff. You see the teams that finish 6th in the league, and you know they often cause an upset. It's only 2 games, so I think it'll be much safer if we go up in those top 2 spots. And I think it's looking likely at the moment. We can't get complacent. That's a big thing as well. If the teams start thinking that they've been promoted, I think that's when it becomes a bit dangerous.
Yeah, can't get carried away. I mean, I think maybe that was part of the success to Eddie's formula earlier in the season. The team was at the bottom of the league. We couldn't do anything but win as such. But now we're up there. We can't afford to get carried away, get complacent, and have a slip in form.
Absolutely. Do you think the fact that AFC Bournemouth have never reached the second tier of English football is psychologically a factor?
I wouldn't have thought so. A lot of the players have played in the second tier, if not the Premier League. Some of them. I wouldn't have thought that would really play on their minds. They've got a goal. They've got a focus. They know what they want to do. You know, Eddie's managed up there before. They've all had experience on that championship level, most of them. So I think the heritage and the history of the club doesn't really pay that much of a burden on anyone, particularly except maybe the fans. So I think the players, they won't take that into consideration, and they should just march on like any other game, really.
Yeah, I think the way Eddie's recruited his players, people like Tommy Elphick, David James, Miles Addison, they've all played at the higher level, and they all understand the pressure, and in theory, winning League One should be nothing more than a simple task for them. I mean, if we do go up, it's going to get much harder next season, but yeah, the way Eddie's recruited his players, he definitely has the experience there to push on, and everyone can hopefully cope with the pressure.
If Bournemouth do get promoted, they're into the Championship. There are some good teams already in there, like the likes of ex-Premier League teams, Leeds, Crystal Palace, Blackburn Rovers, as well as these 3 teams who get relegated from this year's Premier League. Do you think AFC Bournemouth can stay up in that league?
Well, I'd like to think so. They'll need a bit more investment. They've been lucky in the recent years that they've had a bit of investment to the club, but I think that if you're going to survive going up from League One to the Championship, you have to have a bit more money behind you. It is a tough league. It's a really tough league. It's definitely in the top 10 European leagues leagues in the world, probably sixth. So it is a really tough place to be, and there are some brilliant teams who are experienced, like Leeds, Blackburn, and the three that come down. So it will be a much harder task. I think next season they've just got to focus on consolidating their position. They've got to stay up. I mean, we've seen teams that have been promoted from League One, like Southampton recently, and they've gone straight up into the Prem. But without serious investment, it doesn't look like that will happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, obviously, as you said, there's a lot of strong teams in the division, but then again, there are a lot of weaker teams in the division. Teams like Barnsley, Peterborough, they're all there, sort of our standard, and hopefully, if we can get a bit of luck, if we go up to the Championship, then all could turn out good, and we could really solidify our place in the second tier.
Yeah.
Cool. How important was January's transfer window for AFC Bournemouth?
Hugely important. I think we didn't bring in too many players, but I think the players that we did are really good additions. I mean, Matt Ritchie, a particular highlight. I know Swindon didn't want to sell him, but had to because of financial constraints. But yeah, since coming in, he's only played at left back, but I think he's still young. He's going to be a massive keep for the club in the future if we can hold on to him and he doesn't get sold on again. And others like Danny Seaborn, Ryan Alsop. Danny Seaborn, really experienced. As I said about the experience before, he should be able to cope with the pressure of such a high-flying team. And Ryan Alsop, a good young goalkeeper that's even knocked David James out the side now. And I think that says something about the calibre of players that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this was the first sort of transfer window where it looked like Eddie was building a championship squad, wasn't it? So he's brought in Ryan Fraser from the SPL as well. These players have played at a high level and can do a job. And Danny Seaborn, who's coming on loan, is a brilliant acquisition. Just to solidify us since Tommy Elphick's injury, and just get us, to that championship spot. And then if they stay or not, it doesn't. You'll get more players, but they're here to do a job, and hopefully we can do it.
I mean, I think it's really key to have a big squad in League One, especially with 46 games a season, and obviously there was cup fixtures early on. It's really important to have a big squad. You're able to rotate, rest players, give players a chance sometimes. And I think with the bad weather we've had over the winter, a lot of postponed games, when games start to build up a lot of midweek features, it's going to be really important to have a good quality big squad that Eddie can hopefully rotate and everyone can do a job.
Yeah.
What about the Gold Stand Stadium? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, yeah, it's a lovely little stadium. Really friendly place to be. Only got 3 sides at the moment, which I think they'll look to do something about. Perhaps if they get some investment when they go up to the Championship, which would be nice. But it's at the moment the best thing about it is that there's a lot of people in it. They're even selling out on some weeks. So as long as people keep coming, there'll be more demand for more seats. The side will get built, and they've got big plans for the stadium. So it will be really nice and compete with the best Championship stadiums, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the future it can create a really good atmosphere. I mean, Eddie Mitchell, the chairman's business is hotels, and I know when they're putting a 4th stand in over the summer, if we do get promoted, then that's going to have a whole hotel complex on it, and yeah, that should be a really key factor to our promotion, creating a really good vibe around the place. And I'm sure when we go up to the Championship, it's going to sell out week in, week out when big teams come to visit.
Okay, so final prediction, where do you think Bournemouth will finish?
Well, if I was thinking optimistically, I'd say top. Not many games left now. We're 1 point off top spot at the moment. I think we've got the best team in the league, and if all goes to plan, we'll finish top of it.
I mean, I'm slightly more concerned. I mean, the law of averages says that we can't win every game, but then again, at the moment, we're going in the right direction. We don't really seem like stopping. I mean, as we said before, Eddie Howe's made a massive transformation to the club, and from what it seems, the vibe we're getting, I think everyone seems to have the confidence, the staff, management, all the players seem like they can really push on for it this season, don't they?
Yeah, I think almost definitely promotion, even if we don't finish top.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much for joining us. A massive thank you to my guests today, Jasper and Tom. We will all make sure to keep our fingers crossed with the Cherries, all the luck in their promotion push. I've been Gemma Mullin, and this has been Lunchbox. Thank you for watching.